you were not able to attend this, you'll be able to get a copy of it later. Stephanie will send this out. You can also certainly distribute it within your group if you'd like to do that. We're going to actually not take a whole lot of time this morning. I mean, think we're going to go the full half hour. We've got just a few topics, and what we really want to do is we want to bring you up to speed. We do usually a couple of releases to the member web as well as Case Exchange a year, and we're going to really quickly cover this. I'm not going to go into detail on this slide. You can kind of see it for yourself. There's a few things that we actually have already implemented throughout the year that our members wanted, and I think what I really like to get across on this particular slide is if you have something within the member web or Case Exchange that you would like to see, wow, it sure would be nice if TSANet did this, or if the member web did that, or we can do this. We really would like to know about it, because we're getting down to where we think from a TSANet perspective that we've got a lot of bases covered. But every once in a while someone will come in with, hey, it would be nice, or why does it do this and why does it do that? And we really, again, this is your organization, so we want to make sure that we're providing it for you. But this is what we'll cover and go across these. And then I'm going to turn it over to Paul. He's going to talk about Case Exchange a little bit. So the first one, a lot of this is pretty cosmetic stuff that we've done. But in the search engine, what we ran across was, if you're looking for a company, sometimes we got companies that have got multiple departments in there. And so now in the search bar, what we've done is we've included that to bring up the departments as well. So that way you can quickly get to where you need to go. Microsoft is a pretty good example of that. There are many others. IBM, some of the larger companies use quite a few departments. So this will help you in your search bar to be able to go where you need to go real quickly. The other one, and this is probably one of the more interesting ones that we did. For those of you that are premium members, you know that some companies want to guide you differently through the engagement and collaboration process for the premium TSANet versus the basic TSANet. So, but there are a lot of companies that their process to get into support is exactly the same, regardless of whether it's premium or basic, and then they work out the entitlement and the SLA back to you based on the entitlement of that customer. So what we found was that a lot of companies would be going into the member web to search for a company, and if you were a premium member, you would see the premium tile as well as the basic tile, even though the documents were exactly the same. So what we've done is that if we've had the developers go in and say, if you're using the same contact document for the premium TSANet and the basic TSANet, we're only going to show you one tile. So it simplifies and streamlines that whole engagement process going through the decision tree, especially if you're going to see the same document anyway. So it's just really a streamlined process that we went through. And I think a lot of companies are going to like it, because it just makes it simpler on the caller side. The other thing, and this again is a little bit more cosmetic, but for those companies that have multiple departments, what we're trying to go to is a different experience for the callers to be able to get to the right contact process. So we've created this routing wizard for those companies that have got multiple departments, and you can basically then select, okay, well, does the customer have 24/7 entitlement, or do they not? Where's the customer located at? That's going to take you to the correct geographic region. And then we used to have just products up there, and now it's actually products or solutions. So in some cases, what they'll do, use the contact document, is they'll actually talk about the solution versus the specific product to get you to the right place. So we're including that now. Just a really, again, a cosmetic change, but also wanted to take the opportunity to let you know about this routing wizard. So if you see a little bit different interface as opposed to scrolling through a bunch of tiles, that's where we're headed to in this particular release. Again, another thing, and this goes along the same lines, right? I don't know if many companies, I try to cover it in all the calls, but we implemented this several releases back. this feature called internal notes, and some companies are really using it and using it effectively. So what it does is there's several places in the decision tree as you go to engage another member that you can put an internal note that only your members will see. Red Hat does this very effectively, where they're actually guiding their engineers. They may have multiple relationships beyond TSANet, so if you're using TSANet to engage this particular member, keep this in mind. Or our products interface with their products, so this is what you want to make sure you convey. This is an internal note section that you can put on the contact document prior to the contact document that only your engineers will see. That might very well help them. Usually it's just text, although you can put documents in. There's a lot of different things that you can do it. I'm seeing it used a little bit more from companies, and we try to talk about it when we onboard a new member into it. And what we did here was just kind of make a cosmetic change to explain internal notes a little bit better, because you'll see it add an internal note here. It used to say, I think there's nothing here or something like that. To learn about it. So one, understand what this is a great feature to guide your engineers into engaging and working with another company, and that you've got the capability of doing that. This is another one, again, a cosmetic change that once you got into the directory, we weren't displaying the member name. And we were actually displaying all the different relationships, which may have nothing to do with what you're trying to do. So we've actually changed this. This will be a change that will be coming out in the release in October, where we've just changed that to be the member name. I think it just makes a little bit more sense. I know they're clicking on the member company, so you assume that would be the document that would be coming up, but we just want to reemphasize that. Then the other piece of it, if that document is tied to multiple relationships that you may not even be a part of, there's no point in trying to put all these different relationships up there. It doesn't really make any sense to the engineer that's wanting to use it. So we're going to change that to take that particular feature out. So again, another cosmetic change is trying to streamline, make it a little bit easier. Sometimes these things are taking away stuff is just as effective as adding stuff to it. And this is probably the more complicated thing, and this is just a mock-up that Paul has done. We've been getting requests from our members to be able to see what the experience is like from the other side. So what you see is your experience in being able to engage another company, and you can customize that, right? You can put different tiles in your My TSANet space. But what you can't see unless you contact TSANet is what is it like from the other side looking into me. And that's difficult to do because the other company may have different relationships that they're set up with, and they may have different things within custom groups that they have set up. So what we're trying to do is do the best we can to show you what it looks like from the other side. So somebody else looking at you. And we're working with the developers to come up with something. What we've got right here is a mock-up of what we think it's going to look like, to where if you're a limited member, this would be what the experience would be like, or where you're the open group member in the premium or the basic TSANet. So we don't know exactly what this is going to look like. The developers are working on this. They're going to come back with us. In the interim, and this comes across quite often, is there's confusion about, oh, well, what I see, it must be what my partners see, and that's not the case. And right now, there's really no good way for you to see what it looks like from the partner's experience. So what we're going to do is try to develop this to let you see what it looks like on the other side. If right now, if you want to do this, you can get a hold of us, and we can go in and log in as that other partner and show you exactly what it looks like that their experience is. So I'm going to try to do this. We'll keep you advised on this as we come out with it. Okay, and I think, Paul, we're going to get to Case Exchange. You want to cover this real quick?
Sure. Thanks, Dennis. So as far as Case Exchange for the fall release, the changes are focused on the member web functionality for Case Exchange. So if you're not familiar with Case Exchange, there's CRM connectors that you can download and install as part of your CRM systems. So for example, if you've got Salesforce, you've got a connector for that, and a few others. But if you don't have a supported CRM system, or maybe you're not able to make that first step of getting the IT system or IT organization involved to get that implemented for you, many members are taking the approach of just activating the web version of Case Exchange, which is contained then right within the member web. So for this release, we made a couple enhancements based on some user feedback. The first change is the ability to add read-only custom fields, and this tends to be used for some helper text. So for example, say you have a custom field, product line or serial number or something like that, and you want to provide some guidance to the member on where they would find that information, or just some other type of guidance within the form. So now you have the ability to do that, and we've seen a couple good use cases for that. The second change, or we'll call it a fix, is related to attachments. So before you were able to exceed the limits as far as size and quantity, it would error out at you, but at the wrong time. So now it really supports that and messages a little more clearly to the user what you can and cannot attach to that. But I guess just to follow up with Case Exchange, and especially this web version, we're really seeing more and more members, as I indicated, taking this approach. And again, part of the reason is it's super simple, right? So we have for the most part, a quick 30-minute demo, activate you, do a couple of test cases, and take you live, right? All without needing collaboration with your IT teams and that type of thing. So it's essentially just turning on a feature in the member web. So we're starting to really see some momentum now as far as people going live with Case Exchange, specifically around the web version. So if you haven't taken a look at Case Exchange yet, or maybe you took a look at it and you were planning on downloading the connector and you just haven't had any progress on that with your IT team, definitely take a look at the web version and just contact me. We can set up a demo and see if that's a better fit for you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Paul. And really, I'd say probably over the last several months, we've started to see quite a bit of uptick in members taking advantage of Case Exchange, and that'd be a fair statement, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, a lot of them kind of coming back, right? People we've talked to before, where maybe they've taken a look and we've given a demo on Salesforce. They've had those internal discussions with their IT teams. Run into an issue where prioritization and just the fact that those Salesforce teams admins are sometimes pretty busy, they just can't get it done. So this is a nice alternative, and it really works as far as the user experience, very similar to what you'd have within Salesforce. So if you did start with a web and next year or the year after upgraded to the Salesforce connector, it's not a retrain my users, it's all totally different. It's really the same experience, just within the member web.
Excellent. Okay, guys, this is it for today. It's kind of short and sweet. We just wanted to cover what we're going to release. Some of this stuff is actually already done, and you'll see it take effect. It has already taken effect. Some of these will be out later in October. Again, I want to emphasize, if you've got any questions or anything that you would like to see that we can do within the member web or Case Exchange, get a hold of Paul or myself, Dennis, at tsanet.org, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you about it. I don't see any questions or anything coming up, and probably really didn't expect any, as it's pretty concise on this particular release. Anything else, Paul, you want to say, or are we good?
Nope, I think that covers it.
Okay, thanks everybody for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next webinar. Have a good day.